I noticed that on item 2 of every class period, that the vast majority that missed it answered D.
The answers to item number 3 were spread evenly in the math lab section between A, B, C, and D.
I noticed that item 3, 4, number 9, and 10 were my 4 lowest questions in every class.
I noticed item number 5, district-wide percent correct is 72.8, and all my 4 classes combined was 69.8%, and that's the highest out of the whole class.
I noticed that item 6 and for all of my classes was above the district average.
It looks like using a fraction as a coefficient threw mine off.
Looking at item 2 on the test, it just shows that I need to work with my students picking out keywords such as per hour.
The item in the problem that's staying constant, because that's a tie-in to 8th grade, and the item in the question that's changing, and how to identify those in the equation.
To really emphasize where the slope goes and where the y-intercept goes in the equation.
3 and 10 have to do with going from an equation to a graph. So I would agree that we need to spend more time looking at graphs and finding, equation to graph.
I've been using the Plickers program to be able to get a formative assessment and to figure out right away where the misconceptions are. And the kids actually love it too, so that's been very successful so far.
What about in your math lab instruction? How would you support the on level?
With the current lesson, when we're with one-step and two-step equations, we're solving for x there, so that kind of ties in with the equations here, and we can explain to them. Remember when we learned this in this unit? This had to do with the same thing, and so maybe they'll relate it and see how it's all connected.
Yes, making those connections, very important.
I just think that all of these pieces need to fit together. The bison bits that we're doing, the topics we're covering in targeted tutorials, what's going on in lab, all that has to be data driven from what we're seeing after our unit assessment.
So what do you value about this process, this protocol that we do?
Well, I think it actually makes you stop and think, and to really assess honestly what you think has been going on in your class, and not what you when you ask them, do you guys get this? They're all going to raise their hands, and taking the time to stop and look at the data can clear some issues up for you. And I think when we have a chance to discuss this together, if one teacher's been successful with an item and another one has been less than successful, then you can compare strategies, teaching strategies.